Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm coming to you today with a video on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is a response to a video I just watched last night from Roger Waters, the frontman of Pink Floyd for many, many years, off and on. Separate conversation, but he was responding, actually reciting a speech that he wrote, apparently, and delivered very publicly on the subject of the situation in Israel. Now, normally this wouldn't be something I would touch in my videos. I try to avoid certain subjects just because there's a great deal of personal preference involved, and it's not really my place to tell people what to think about things that are very personal to them and spiritual, perhaps. I'm not trying to preach at all. I want to be clear about that. I'm not selling anything, and I'm not trying to really influence. I'm just trying to perhaps shed perspectives, share perspectives of things that may not be obvious to people. That's usually the substance of my videos, trying to help people see a little bit more and make better informed decisions. That's honestly why I'm doing this. So in regards to his speech, I listened to the whole thing. It had a lot of information, and now a little bit of background from what I understand of Mr. Waters, Roger Waters. Huge fan, first of all. Great singer, a brilliant man. I've listened to pretty much all of his material that I found online, including the early stuff, and I love all of it. So I'm going to start with that. But anyway, he has for lack of a better word, and to be concise, he has a frustrated view of the situation in Israel, in particular how Israel is responding to Hamas and Palestine. So if you're not familiar, and again, this isn't an opinion piece. It's not. I'm not even going to probably share my own personal opinion on the subject, but I'm going to respond to what he said. Israel and Palestine, for a long, long time, I don't know from exactly when, from the time Israel was created as a country, they have had conflict, massive conflict, military conflict, real legitimate conflict with injuries and death for many, many, many years. And Israel has finally, in the last, I would say about a year ago, as far as I know, decided that they've had enough. And that's my take on it. Mr. Waters had a different take, and his description, his words were that I've heard this from other people. It's not just him. I don't mean to single him out. It's actually a pretty wide and popular belief in circles that Israel is doing something really wrong right now. It's being called genocide, which is, if you're familiar with history, World War II history, it's a turning of tables and kind of a like the sentiment in his video and among people who say the same thing is that of all the people to commit atrocities, the people of Israel are the least. They're the last people who should do it because of their history as being victims for not just hundreds but thousands of years as Jewish people. So again, this isn't a huge conversation about Judaism or even Israel or Palestine, but his video where he says that they're committing genocide. So I'm going to tackle that first of all. It's not genocide. Let's be clear. Let's be honest. It's not genocide because the Israel, by no means, as far as I know, and as far as they are actually doing, are not trying to wipe out a race of people. Palestine, okay, there's a lot of Arabs that live there, but their goal isn't to eliminate Arabs. So let's be clear. It's not genocide, not in fact or in intention, in design. So what they are doing is they're militarizing against Hamas. They're sending troops and missiles and drones and whatever they have to fight, and a lot of people are actually getting killed, including civilians, Palestinian civilians, including women and children, just people. So it's tragic. Okay, I'm not trying to minimize any of that. I may comment on what I perceive their motive to be, because it was missing, as far as I'm concerned, from Roger's video. He went on to say that as a result of the the United Nations and what happened following World War II, there were, the Big Five were, just a little background, the Big Five players in the United Nations, when it was formed, had veto power. And he covers this in his video. So he sees that as, whether it is or isn't, he sees it as, it was kind of a loophole, an insincere agreement between the participants and the treaty. So what I mean is, he looks unfavorably upon the veto power of these exclusive players, and he's citing that they're using this power, this veto power, and have been using this power to keep Israel, to give them an advantage, an unfair advantage in the region. And he goes into some detail, and I'm not going to go over all that, but what I will say is that there's camps forming, right? There's been camps where you're either, in favor of Jews or in favor or against basically the actions that Israel is taking. I look at this differently. So I'm going to get to my point. My point is that from my understanding, the situation in Israel bordering on Gaza and Palestinian people, for, like I said, a long time, there's been conflict surrounding the land. It's really about territory, the borders, and the actual land itself, where it's considered holy, first of all. So there's this very deep connection between the people and the location. And I would be remiss not to point out that if any party was willing and able to relocate, that would almost be a complete solution by itself. Not practical, but just saying. So if the parties are so attached to their land that they're killing each other just for that alone, well, that's one way to look at it. I mean, maybe that's not okay, but for whatever reason, whatever's causing the conflict, I believe, based on what I've seen in the news for decades, Israel has been trying, or had been, I should say, past tense, had been trying to be peaceful. I don't think that due credit was given to that point by Mr. Waters or in the news recently at all. I think that the decades that Israel was actually trying to keep the peace in the area and do the right thing is being glossed over. I don't think that most people are talking about that. So it seems to me like they've reached a point, Israel has reached a point, the Jewish people, where they are trying something different, to say the least. They are fed up. They have decided there's no more opportunity to work with these people. It hasn't been working for, I'm just guessing what their political motivation, their thoughts are, that they've decided to just dominate at this point because, well, for whatever reason, they have the ability and the opportunity. So they're tired of trying to figure it out. So, okay, so that kind of looks different. It looks different than Israel being colonial, because Mr. Waters mentioned that. He said that it's no different than any national expansion that we've seen throughout human history, where one large and prosperous country will colonize or annex some other place and just like dominate it for no reason other than to spread its own culture and spirituality there. I don't see that as what's happening. I honestly don't. I think that Israel was trying to mind its business for a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were. And at some point, I know that there's been Palestinian rockets coming towards Israel. Okay, so I don't have all the details. I just know that Hamas is not innocent. Okay, so Israel's not innocent. So Israel has finally decided enough's enough. We're going to beat your ass. That's what it looks like to me. And so the question becomes, is it called for? At what point is a nation within rights to defend itself? And with what kind of force can they be expected and allowed to use in the global theater, in the world theater? Because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's what's going on. Yes, they're being ruthless. Yes, they're killing people, but you can't just take today out of context. You can't just say all of a sudden they're doing this. No, there's a lot of stuff that preceded it, including rockets from Palestine going into Israel. And if you recall, just last year or the year before, there were some there was in the news an unprovoked attack. That's kind of what immediately preceded this action. Rockets flying from Palestine into Israel all of a sudden. So maybe that's relevant. Maybe if rockets flew into your city and killed your people, the people you like and you love and you go to church with, maybe if they started dying and getting blown up for no reason, no good reason, maybe you'd see things differently. I don't know. But none of that was in his speech. So I hope that people are trying at least to be objective and honest, because without that, I don't know. There's no point in discussing things if we're not being sincere and honest and trying to understand each other. So I still believe peace is possible. I think that there's some questions to be asked and answered about the role of the land and its holiness. I think that, again, like I said, if one or both parties were able or willing to be more flexible about their location, that might be a complete solution. So anyway, if you have questions or comments, reach out to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.